Hi, welcome back to Renee Roof Music. Hope everyone is doing well.
Yeah.
Renee, how's it going?
Good. We've got friend today.
We do have a little friend today.
So there will be noises and bending over with which to retrieve this, or else there'll be chatter. So
travel days or dog days?
dog days. Travel days or dog days.
Even though all our days are dog days.
Every day, yeah. It's
Just
Joshua's world. We're just living it. We don't always let you know that though, but today.
Today is a Joshua day.
Yes.
Alright, so next week you are going to a Sync Summit.
Which means Chad has Joshua. Speaking of dog days.
Right. Dog duty.
Full-time dog dad.
But this is kind of a big deal. This is the first time in 2 years.
In person.
It's going to be in person.
Yeah, we
Live
like
event.
people that we've seen at these events but not actually met.
Absolutely.
I haven't met my SIG agent, Mark, but most everybody else, yeah, we're like, oh, that's so. Yeah, it's weird, like the world coming back to life.
Yeah, so it's like all these people you see online, and all of a sudden you're going to be able to see them in person, so it'll be kind of fun. But the point of it is, if you're working in sync or composition for media, it's going to be a fantastic event to learn, network, and get creative.
I know, remind me to get you to put together like people I should meet and talk to.
Right, exactly, right. So it's a little 3-day
event.
event.
Give me a list of people that help me figure out how to spend my time wisely.
Right, exactly. Well, it's funny because if you have not looked at your itinerary,
No, I haven't.
we're going to talk about a couple of the
This is why
sessions.
Chad exists. Okay, so this is perfect.
Right. So we're going to get you ready for next week. So let's talk about a couple things that are going to be happening.
I love this.
So the sync music listening session is actually really cool, and I think this is actually what you're preparing for. So you may know about this one.
Well, I'm doing a showcase, but the listening session I think is a little different.
Okay, so
we need to get music to that.
yeah, so this one, every single person gets one song of their music listened to, evaluated, and shared with the people working in some of the top projects in TV and film.
Nice.
So, which is kind of cool because you're going to get practical advice, tips, suggestions, and actually hear from these top people what they actually look for, what they're doing in this whole process.
That's the really valuable part. You know, as you hear, it's hearing what they're saying and critique. But then it only also matters if like that's the space you're trying to get into.
Right.
Because each sync person is looking for something different.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's fine. I think but the invaluable would be finding the person.
Right. Well, exactly.
Like, hey, what I do matches what you need. Let's do this together.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the cool part is that they're actually going to put the playlist together of all the songs that are in that session and have it on the website.
Oh, so you can listen.
So you can actually listen back. So.
Make sure I get that my songs.
We'll make sure you've got some good ones.
Do?
Right? Well, if you haven't signed up for this one, then you may not be in it. Because this one's a limited one. There's only 25 participants.
Oh.
So you may not be in on that one. But your showcase is going to be fabulous.
I'll do a showcase.
Yeah. So what's that one? What's that about?
Oh, the showcase,
Yeah.
you can sing live. So I don't know who I'm singing to be honest. They just have that, you get to do 2 songs and perform it, which is why I was getting the TV mixes.
Right.
I probably just missed submitting for so whoever got into that, congratulations.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
But yeah, like, so, you know, it's an opportunity to kind of perform your stuff live. So I don't know who for. I don't know
That'd be
when.
cool. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people at this event. A lot of like.
I think the key though is like even if you have your stuff on that listening session and on the website, like I think the key is the relationships. Like,
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
and it's finding the people. Like I said, it's finding. My goal in going is to find the people that need what I do.
Right.
You know, so you may luck out and they hear you in a listening session, but at the end of the day, like I still think it's a relationship. Like go and meet people, and that's why like the Zoom was never gonna last forever. We still do things person to person.
No, absolutely. Well, the next one is one that always fascinates me. I just think it's the coolest thing, and I would love to be a part of this panel just to hear what they have to say about it. But storytelling in TV and film.
Okay.
Which I think is amazing. So they're going to discuss and highlight how music is central to the storytelling process. The right song in a film or TV can be magical and transformative. So the music supervisors are going to be discussing their work, how they connect music to picture, their creative process, and where they source the music from.
There was
which I think is really cool.
If you go look at some of the film without
That's what I was gonna say. Like I've seen behind the scenes where they're shooting and they do all the dialogue and there's no music.
Yeah.
And then you watch the movie and you're like,
Life changing.
completely.
It's
different.
why like the silent film era was nothing we ever returned to.
Okay.
So like and they talk and that's why there's literally on each project a sync supervisor whose job is to do just that, make that music work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which I just think is so. Apparently, there's a music supervisor and then there's a sync agent. So the supervisor is the one that has to figure out what they want, and then they go to the sync agent and they have to figure out who they need to pull that from.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
So the way that it typically works, from what I've understood, is they kind of like, as they're filming, they get, it's kind of like anything. Like you can, oh, hey, I hear this song, or they heard a radio song. So it's like Imagine Dragons, let's say, but Imagine Dragons is going to cost you like $500,000 to use their song. So the sync supervisor's job is to either find or replace with a budget for because the sync supervisor knows the music budget, knows how many songs are needed, knows the division of it all. So then they go to their friends, the people, because it's still a tight community. So like they all know different agents who represent different people and different genres, and so they go to their, depending on what they're after, go to them and say, hey, I need to replace this, or I need to replace this. And they find the song, and then they negotiate which would be a much cheaper, But then I was laughing because I was watching, because they do sometimes still. It's funny, they will budget in when they really want the song. Like we were laughing because at my birthday we were playing Britney Spears' song "Work," and I had no clue it was done in 2013 or something like that. I thought I literally think I heard it for the first time on Instagram last year on some video of her dancing. But I was watching. I told you the show you should watch is New Girl.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They have it in one of the scenes, and I'm like, how much did that cost? Like, it's so funny how I see it differently now because I know how expensive those artists are, and I was like, wow, they wanted that song.
Yeah.
Because
no way around
it was Britney Spears' work, and I was like, I know those things are expensive.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so it's really interesting as you get to know that part of the industry, and it's fascinating how that process works.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned before, we've talked about this, I feel like probably a couple different times.
Well, you know what? We're just going to keep talking about it.
Because you've done briefs.
Yes.
So briefs is kind of how they're finding these things. So how much information are you given if you have an opportunity to do a brief? Do you know what the goal is? I mean, you've done it for a commercial and then you've done it for a TV show.
Yeah.
How much do you know ahead of time in order to even make that?
So
if it's a song you haven't created yet.
Yeah, so it depends on what industry. Like commercial is a very slow process. TV's quick, like they get a fast turnaround. Like, hey, we need the song replaced tomorrow. So like, and then it depends on how quick, movies are a little longer too, because you think filming to post. We're like episodes. There's so many in a year. They gotta move. So it just depends on where you are in that, and then the brief. It also depends too. Like a brief, it just reminds me when I taught university, and I would tell 20 students, I'd be like, hey, here's your assignment, and I would literally write in as much detail as I thought I could muster, and I ended up with 25 different versions of what I put on the board, and maybe 2 of them got close to what I was trying to get done. You know what I'm saying? I think briefs are the same. I think they give you, what they don't usually give you is the actual scene. And I feel like if that was given, it would be, but I'm sure there's loads of red tape reasons you don't get the actual scene. So you kind of get hey, then you get the reference track.
Okay.
This is the song we wanted to use, or you get reference tracks. Hey, we want something that sounds like this.
Yeah.
But I can't crawl into that supervisor's head and know exactly what they're looking for. So you, in a lot of ways, you're just not throwing darts in the dark, but a little bit, because you do have an idea, but then you're going off on this creative journey. Then you get all these other people involved, and suddenly, you thought you were doing this one thing, and it's just we just did that with, we were doing a 90s cover, and I was, Lita, this is the song, I was doing it this way, and then Finn got his hands on it, and he redid, I was like, where are we going with this? It was it's just, by the time you're done, you're like, you know what? It's all part of the journey.
Right, exactly.
And there's no waste to me, because every single track that doesn't get picked up is just building your library for a future you know, placement, you know. So those briefs to me were just, I personally love the challenge of the brief. I love being given, it reminds me, I spent way too long at university, like 4 degrees. It reminds me of getting a paper assignment, like, hey, we want you to write a paper. Here's the word count, here's the dot, here's the dot, here's the topic, here's the dot, write it. Like, that's how I feel when I get a brief. We want a song. I want you to write, here's the, you know, here's the emotion, here's the feeling, here's some of the word, here's some of the phrases we're looking for. Like, we want let's go, or the idea of let's go in it, and everyone's talking about let's go. Like, you know, so it's like, it's like I'm like, it's like it gives me a place to jump. You know, and I not that I need it, I've written many a song just out of my head, but like, I think it must be the academic in me, but I think it's fun. So my dream would be to team up with a sync supervisor where my style meets what they need, and then just send them to me, and I just keep writing songs. Like, I think that would be so fun. On top of the dream of touring 1,000 other things, but like, yeah, that's like fun though, right? Like, yeah, it's so fun. Especially when if you've got like John and I have such a great. I mean, you saw what we did in like 2
Oh,
weeks.
yeah.
We just had really great.
Yeah.
It's just finding someone who meets us.
Oh,
That's all.
yeah. Well, I mean, again, so
Hasn't happened yet.
finding the right people to work with, and
Yeah.
then finding the right people that need what you have to offer.
So that's part of the reason I'm going on this is to go and meet people and see, because I mean, you're just a name until someone meets you and you have a face.
Right.
And everybody that's in this industry will tell you it's a person-to-person industry. Still,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why we still want to go see shows.
Right. Well, exactly.
No fun watching them on Zoom in our living room.
No, it's
I
not.
want to get out of the living room.
Right.
It's the energy. It's the
It
energy.
is.
Yeah.
It is. So that'll be really fun. So that's a 3-day event you're going to be going to. It's going to be so fun.
I know it might be be prepared for Friday maybe. Well, I'm just saying because I know it's supposed to end on the Friday, and I was like, man, if it ends late enough, I may not be up for the commute, and I did not think that through.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It'll be a good time.
I was walking today with Joshua thinking about that. I was like, I have to tell Chad I need to do one more day. And I went into like, you want to help me stay in some crappy hotel because I didn't book it today. I'll figure that out today.
I know. No worry. So kind of on a side note, but I felt that it kind of, I'm pulling it together.
Okay, I'm
Pulling
here.
it together.
I'm ready for it.
So you are competing in a fitness competition this weekend, which super excited about. My point of bringing that up, well, we've talked about how fitness relates to music.
Yes.
And the importance of it, especially
Yes.
going on tour, you want to be ready and fit, good to go with that. But also just the fact that you had said that in your mind you've already won. Because
Yes.
you achieved the goal of what you wanted to do with it, and it's just going to be fun to go to walk across stage and to have that
Dance to
achievement.
my music.
Kind of
Yeah.
have all these things. And it just reminded me how in music it's the same way. Like in your mind, you've already won because you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
Like you love to be able to sing, you love to be able to perform. So in the same breath, for anybody out there that's a struggling singer, artist, musician, if it's what you love, remember that. Like
I think
that's your
also
line.
it's a step, like you've won in the sense that you're not sitting around talking about it.
Mhm.
You've won because you did something about it. So, I actually went in initially thinking I'd try to compete to win. But that's what happens in life, right? So I went into it thinking I might try to be the best. And then as what the best, I'm like, I don't want to risk injury. I don't want to, I want to do something sustainable. I don't want to do something where I'm going to look one way and then 2 weeks later look a different way. I want something that is show worthy, but I can keep up. Like, I can continue.
Well,
I
exactly.
won't look that much different from
Mhm.
today going forward, and it's still good enough to compete. Like, I'm not, but that's why I picked the bikini because it's supposed to be a softer competition.
Fair.
And then so your goals change as those things, and I think the winning is doing something.
Right.
And then, also knowing that I wanted to tour, and COVID had a lot of us sitting around for a long time.
Yes,
And,
it did.
dancing and singing, you can't go from sitting to, and studio work, like you're not physically active in the studio. So your voice might be, like my voice muscles are ready, but the rest of me needed to catch up. So it was also an investment in that goal of touring, was to be in tour shape.
Right.
And, working with Ashley Parker Angel has been great because he's Broadway, and so he was giving me tricks to like dance and sing, like not dance I'm not dancing. Like, well, I don't think Britney Spears. Not that, but like I do move, right? Like I'm not gonna be like, I'm not really just a Josh Groban with just the voice. Like we get into it, you know. So getting into it and losing your breath is not cool. So yeah, it so many levels was a win.
Yeah.
And if I end up winning the show, I'll die laughing.
Oh my gosh, it'd be fantastic.
Die laughing, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
like Chad's coming, we're gonna take
yeah.
the camera, we're gonna take photos. I actually was thinking we should do like a tiny documentary, like so, you know, like behind the scenes, because we apparently gonna be killing like an hour or two on the stage, like being like.
Like, all right, it's the time we walk across
or
stage.
like
Yes.
60 seconds.
Right. Oh, that'll be good. We'll have to report back.
We'll report back.
So,
There'll be another podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for Fun Fact Friday?
Fun Fact Friday. Fun Fact Friday. Joshua, Fun Fact Friday.
This is a crazy one. I'm kind of exhausted even reading this one. But this one's for you.
Let's get it started.
Right? So the world's longest concert by multiple artists took place from March 17th to April 5th, 2017.
That was recent.
Yeah. So the concert was part of Canada's celebration of their country's 150th anniversary. It lasted 453 hours.
Who were these artists?
I don't know.
So now you gotta Google.
So now
Because
you
you're
have
like,
to
who was
who
playing
was this?
in Canada?
How many different artists?
Or was it just every single musician in Canada got a chance to sing?
I mean, maybe.
And they didn't.
I mean, if they wanted.
And if that's the case, they did not call me.
Right? Come on now, 2017. What's going on?
Was singing and performing. Now, mind you, I'm a big bad America, so maybe they're
Right.
like, she
I think it was- I think it was-
defected.
I think it was a live stream too, so. it just-
Weird,
it
because
just
we
went
weren't
on.
even in a pandemic situation. Live stream. Gotta Google that. He's like, I'm exhausted talking about it.
This is
Leave
so
it to
long.
Canada. Leave
453
Canada.
They did it. They did it. 2017.
Is that a world record? Go Canada.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the world's longest concert.
Yeah, world
so,
record.
yeah.
Maybe that's what they're going for.
Maybe.
Go Canada.
Good job.
I
Good job,
know.
guys. All right. Well, thank you.
Well, thanks for
That's good.
joining us. Another great one.
That's
We'll
right.
see you soon, and here's to your competition.
Okay.